Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Georgia Probe Virtual College Fair. Thank you so much for joining us. We are really excited you are here. My name is Catherine, and I will be your facilitator for this session. Before we get started, we do have a few housekeeping items to note. First, your camera and microphone are off. You are muted and your video is off. The panelists can't see or hear you. If you have any questions at all, feel free to use the Q&A button to type in your questions to the presenters at any time. They are here, ready and available to answer your questions. This is one of many college presentations being offered, so feel free to check the schedule on the website for more. And lastly, all sessions are being recorded, including this one, and will be available at strivescan.com/probe. We are currently in session A3, where my mouse is circling, and this is also the same order of presentations. So without further ado, I'll get out of the way and kick it off to our very first presenter from Duke Kunshan University.
Thank you for that introduction. Okay, so as mentioned, I'm Emily Groovy from Duke Kunshan University. This is a joint venture university that Duke in North Carolina opened up in China. Now, I know I don't have too much time today, so I do want to point out that on each of the slides, there is a QR code that will lead you to our virtual events page, where we have info sessions led by staff members that are a little bit longer than 6 minutes. We also have some virtual campus tours and application advice sessions as well. So definitely check those out, and that QR code will be on each slide. As a student at Duke Kunshan University, you would spend most of your time in China. All classes are taught in English, but you do have the opportunity to also spend a semester at Duke or at one of our other global locations during your junior year. No matter where you end up spending that semester during your junior year, you'll graduate with degrees from both Duke Kunshan University, so accredited in China, and Duke University, accredited here in the US. So you may not have heard of Kunshan before, but it is considered to be a small city by Chinese standards, but it's about 2 million people. So there's quite a lot going on there, and it's right in between Suzhou and Shanghai. Suzhou is about the population of New York City, whereas Shanghai, of course, is one of the biggest cities in the world. And you can get to either city within 20 minutes on the high-speed rail. So a lot of opportunities to take advantage of that location when it comes to internships, job shadowing, field trips, those kind of things. So Duke felt that to solve some of these big global issues like economic issues, environmental issues, global health issues, that students needed a truly international education. So they did choose to open this institution in China, which, as we know, is very different from the US. And it provides just like a really unique educational environment, because it is a US style institution in another country, and our faculty and our students come from all over the world. We are trying to reinvent this traditional notion of liberal arts and sciences by creating a very experiential and interdisciplinary learning environment. So all of our majors are blended disciplines, and I'll kind of give you a glimpse into that in just a moment. But they're based in the divisions of arts and humanities, social sciences, and natural sciences. We have a very experiential component built in just through our academic week structure. So classes are just Monday through Thursday, and Fridays are actually set aside for co-curricular education, like those field trips that I mentioned, research with a faculty member, career treks with our career center, volunteer opportunities, a lot of cool ways to utilize those Fridays. Additionally, we have a pretty innovative semester schedule as well. So it's kind of a hybrid between the US and Chinese higher education calendar. We run a fall semester from August to December, and then you do get a winter break and come back from January to May. But each semester is split into 2 7-week sessions. So you're only balancing 2 to 3 classes at a time. And you do get a lot of Chinese holidays off as well. So a lot of opportunities to travel around China, travel around Asia. And as you can imagine, our students are pretty adventurous and love to venture off. So these are our majors. I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but I just wanted to kind of give you a glimpse into what we offer. As you can see, the majors are the underlined terms, but then underneath there are multiple disciplinary tracks within each major. So you choose both a major and a discipline, but you don't do this until the end of your sophomore year. So you have plenty of time to take exploratory courses and plenty of room in your schedule as well, because about a third of your classes are electives. We currently have students from over 60 nationalities represented. The majority of our students do come from China. That's part of being a joint venture university. At least 51% will always come from China, but the rest come from all over. The biggest group of international students do come from the US. And they're just really, I mean, I know I'm totally biased, but they're really spectacular students. They're high achieving, they're open-minded, adventurous, like I mentioned earlier, and really excited to be part of a newer institution. We just opened in 2013 with our grad programs, but we started bringing in undergrads in fall of 2018. So we're excited to have our first graduating class this May. We have a lot of cool ways to be involved on campus. Over 60 student organizations already exist. And that's, again, just within the last 4 years. Those have been created by some of our just awesome students. We have over 15 sports, which include both varsity and club sports. We have Model UN, a big LGBT student organization. We have art club, music club, outdoor adventure club, a lot of things, a lot of ways to be involved. And there's a lot of support as well to start new student organizations, should you want to take that on as a student at DKU. We are on the Common App. It is a free application. All students who apply are automatically considered for merit-based aid. You just need to submit your CSS profile to be considered for need-based aid. And we do award up to full tuition. And we are excited to be test optional for this fall admission. But please reach out with any questions. We have tons of resources, via social media as well, but I'm happy to give you more information, but also to connect you to current students and connect you to, whoever you need to learn more about DKU. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you. The next representative is from Cabot University.
All right, thank you very much. So my name is Ramsey. I'm the admissions counselor for Cabot University, which is an American university in the center of Rome. And I actually graduated from this university a little over 4 years ago. So if you have any questions, about either side of those things, just let me know. But let's get right into it. So a few things to know right off the bat. We are, like I said, an American university, liberal arts institution. So you do have a lot of freedom in making your schedules. We do focus more on the humanities. I'll get to our majors, of course, in a second. As you can see from this chart on the right, we're very diverse. I know a lot of schools say that they're very diverse, but being in Rome, we get students from literally around the world. So we have students from over 70 countries packed into we're just over 1,400 students now because we accepted our biggest class this fall. So, each class size is pretty small, average class size of 15 students. You actually get to know your professor and, have that relationship with them, especially if you're there for 4 years. You'll definitely repeat some professors and by the end, they're just your friend. So I'll definitely get to tuition and financial aid as well later on. And if you're taking notes or anything like that, we have a QR code that has everything I'm talking about. So of course, COVID is a thing, but we are actually fully in person now in Rome. We do have everything is, obviously COVID regulated. We're following the Italian law, but we're doing it safely. Everyone has masks on campus. You got, temperature checks. You need your ID to get into all of our buildings, 24-hour security. So it's very safe in terms of COVID and just in terms of, being in a foreign city. So our academics, we have 14 majors and 19 minors. There's a few things that you should take note of before getting to the majors. So like I said, average class size of around 15 students. We do have a few student help services, basically. I know I use the Writing Center quite a lot. When I was there, you do a lot of writing in a liberal arts institution. But, if you're taking math classes or any foreign language classes, they'll definitely help you out there. So here's our list of majors. These are all offered as minors as well. And you can see the other ones at the bottom, creative writing, art and design, a few others. I studied communications. If anybody's interested in studying communications, please ask me some questions. Yeah. So even while being abroad, you can study abroad. I know probably being in Rome is already very abroad, but say, you have some family in the UK, or you've always wanted to live in France or something. You can do that. So you can study abroad for a semester, or even up to a year, and you won't have to pay any difference in tuition. So you'll pay exactly what you pay at John Cabot. There's definitely no shortage of travel when you're living in Rome. I can tell you from experience. Another big thing at John Cabot is our career services. So we do a lot. We really strive to get you a internship while you're at John Cabot, and then also getting you a job when you leave. So they're very helpful throughout the entire process. We have partnerships with so many different companies inside and outside of Rome. 3 times a year, we invite these companies over to our campus. You get to talk to them, see what they're looking for in an applicant, possibly get an interview, give them your resume. And as you can see, over 85% of our students who get the interview actually end up getting the position. So it's very likely you get an internship while you're there. It's really up to you and the effort you put into it. But it's not like it's just for business students or anything like that. We have, there's so many different opportunities. That's the benefit of being in Rome and having those resources. These are just some of the many companies that a lot of our students get internships with. So our campus is like an urban campus, a few buildings near each other in the center of Rome, as you can see right on the river, very beautiful environment. Our Critelli campus is our newest campus, sorry. It has our admissions office, a few classrooms, president's office at the top. It's very beautiful, nice pristine new building. Barini is our oldest building. It has our library and our auditorium, a bunch of student lounge areas. So, terraces, places to sit on the roof and study or watch the sunset over Rome. Tiber campus, another just short walk down the river, bunch of classrooms, student service offices, the cafeteria is there. I don't need to tell you that the food over there is amazing. And, it's all Italian, it's cooked in the cafeteria. So definitely get the meal plan. And then we also have our own art facility. A lot of people come to John Cabot specifically to be studying, art history or something related to that. So it's nice to have your own space. We do offer our own housing. I get this question quite a lot. They're all apartment style, so they're less dorms of what you might be used to seeing in the US, but apartments, so you'll have a small kitchen, maybe a small balcony, kind of feel like a local right away. We do have a full gym in one of our housing buildings. It's kind of like the main residential building. Full gym and a place to do classes and things like that. We do quite a lot of clubs. We're a small school, so we put a lot into our student clubs and organizations. They're all student-led, and I think the list has grown even from this because we just accepted our biggest class. So a lot of kind of dormant clubs are making a comeback right now. So there's tons of ways to get involved, and everybody is very like-minded. I'm running out of time, but we do a lot of cultural programs and trips and activities around Rome and around Italy. We want you to see the place. We don't want you to be bogged down studying the whole time, but we want you to be traveling and seeing Italy. So we definitely facilitate that. We are in the Common App. It's just like applying to any other American institution. And we also have our own online application. Need these things, very easy to find. And we've also gone test optional for the next year. So our tuition is just under $27,000 for the year, and that's without any scholarships. We do have our own merit-based scholarships and need-based scholarships. Our biggest merit-based scholarship is $9,500 a year. And then we also take the FAFSA because we're an American institution. So lots of different ways to kind of lower that tuition. So that's my time. Please scan that QR code if you guys are interested, and let me know if you have questions. Thanks.
Great, thank you. So much helpful information. Just a friendly reminder that if anyone has any questions at all, to feel free to submit those using the Q&A button towards the bottom of your screen. Any questions at all, our representatives are here and available to assist. The next representative is from the University of North Florida.
Okay, one second. There we are. Okay. If it wants to work for me. Okay, can everyone see my presentation? Yes, no?
We can. If you can just go up to display settings at the first one. Yep.
There we go. Okay. So my name is Thomas. I am an admissions coordinator at the University of North Florida. So I'm gonna go over a little bit of what makes UNF unique, and then I'm gonna go over a little bit about our admissions process. So that way you know what it's like when you start applying to UNF. So a little bit about UNF. We are a public university located in Jacksonville, Florida. We are about 140 miles from Savannah and about 350 miles from Atlanta. We have about 17,000 total students, but our main focus is on our undergraduate studies. So with that, we have 15,000 undergraduate students. We have an average 19-to-1 student faculty ratio, an average about 34 students per class, which means it's gonna be a lot easier for you to get time with your professors and a lot more opportunities to speak with them and have an easier time getting to their office hours. One thing that UNF really prides itself on is our study abroad opportunities. UNF students do study abroad at twice the national average. And in between classes, we have 200 plus clubs and 19 Division I sports. Students attending UNF also have the benefit of living in Jacksonville, Florida. So we are about 15 minutes from the beach and about 20 minutes from downtown. So if you enjoy relaxing at the beach, that's a very real possibility. But if you're looking for internships at Fortune 500 companies that eventually turn to jobs after you graduate, that's also a very real possibility, not far from campus. And we are also, for the history buffs like myself, we are about 30 minutes from St. Augustine, which is the oldest city in America. So it's really cool to go down there and experience that really authentic Florida feeling and get to see a lot of original architecture from that time. One thing we pride ourselves on is our ability to get our students real world experience very early in their college career. So we have 50 majors and over 80 concentrations within those. So we like to kind of touch on these three sort of kind of our big fun ones. So we have coastal marine biology, which is where students have the opportunity to go out with their professors as undergraduates and do things like dolphin behavior research, shark research, and start researching like invasive species and how to prevent those. Marine biology has a couple of boats that belong to just them, so they're not sharing that time with any other programs, not having to fight for time on those boats or time to use them. And with that, we also do have access to a large animal necropsy lab. So when these animals like sharks, whales, dolphins, manatees wash ashore in Jacksonville, we are the place that people go to find out what caused them to wash ashore, and we do that research here. The next program we're touching on today is our music performance and jazz studies program. So we really pride ourselves on our musicians, and we love to have them involved in the Jacksonville community, which has a really strong musical history. We've had students go off and tour and do concerts with people like Herbie Hancock, who, if you're a jazz musician, know he's a big deal. But we also have a lot of study abroad opportunities with music. So students like to go to Portugal, Italy, or South Africa with their music program. And with that also comes the ability to play in different locations. So we've had students play in Carnegie Hall, we've had students play at the Vatican, and we've had students play at Mozart's estate. And the final program to talk about is our American Sign Language and Deaf Education program. So with that, we are about 30 minutes away from the Florida School for the Deaf and Blind. So there's a lot of opportunities for students to get hands-on shadowing internship experience while in undergrad, and also be fully immersed in this program because all the faculty in our deaf education program is actually deaf or hard of hearing themselves. So all those classes are based on the ability to know sign language. So one of our new opportunities that we want to discuss today is our reduced tuition rate for Georgia residents. If you hit any of these qualifiers on the screen, that's exceptional academic performance, a display of talent or skill, pursuing a degree in a high demand field, or being accepted to UNF Hicks Honors College, you're going to be automatically considered for a discount as a Georgia resident. It is up to 70% off your out-of-state tuition rate. So with that, all you have to do is be a resident, hit a qualifier. There's no application, there's no essay, there's no competition. You're just automatically reviewed after your admissions decision. For our first time in college students, we do require an online application. We have our UNF specific online application, but we do also accept the common application. We require your high school transcripts. We recommend using the self-reported student academic record, or the SSAR, which will allow you to put in your grades and your courses yourself that then later verified. It just lets us render a decision a lot faster than waiting for official transcripts. We require a $30 application fee or a fee waiver, which you can get from your school guidance counselor, and they require SAT and or ACT test scores. We unfortunately are not test optional, so we do require those, but we do also super score, so we recommend submitting every version of the test that you take. If you're interested in learning anything else about UNF, I recommend taking a picture of this slide. My name is Thomas. That's my personal email address. That's my personal office phone. So if you have any questions, I'm the dedicated Georgia coordinator. If you want to set up a virtual meeting, you can go to that bit.ly. If you want more information about our discount, you can scan our QR code there.
Great. This was really helpful. Thank you. The next representative is from Florida State University.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and start talking while I'm sharing my screen. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. My name is Samantha Buxbaum. I am a freshman admission counselor with Florida State University. A little bit about FSU. We are a large public university located in Tallahassee, Florida. That's that Big Bend area, as we call it, of the Florida Panhandle. Here are just some quick facts about Florida State. We have about 42,000 or 44,000 students at FSU, with a large majority of those being undergraduates. We're currently ranked number 19 top public university among public schools in the US. Also currently hold the #1 four-year graduation rate among public schools in the state of Florida as well. I mentioned that big university, but we do keep class sizes relatively small. We have a 21-to-1 student to faculty ratio, really allowing our students to, build those relationships with their peers and their professors on a much smaller classroom level. We have 276 academic and professional degrees at FSU. This does include both a College of Medicine and a College of Law as well. Jumping into our application process, there are many ways you can apply to FSU. We're a part of both the Common App and the Coalition application. We also have our application on our admissions website as well. If you are thinking about applying to some of our special programs, there are some additional application materials that you might need to submit in addition to just the general application. If you're thinking about applying to our honors program, that is a supplemental application, and that is due by November 15th. So you definitely need to apply by our priority deadline. I'll talk a little bit more about deadlines in a second. If you're thinking about applying to any of our other special programs, such as music, theater, dance, film, or studio art, just keep in mind that all of those programs do require supplemental information as well. So you want to make sure you're keeping up with their separate dates and deadlines too. Step 2 of the application process is creating something that's called your SSAR. This is a self-reported academic record. So we're going to ask you to submit this instead of submitting an official high school transcript to us. You're going to create an account with SSAR, put in all of your courses and your grades there. When you've finished, it'll give you a 32-character code, and you'll copy and paste it into something that's called your application status check. Your application status check is really going to be like your home base throughout the application process. Here's where you'll self-report and link all your supporting materials. But ultimately, it does also serve as a checklist for you. So there'll be big green check marks next to things that you submit, big red X's next to things that we still need you to turn in. And ultimately, this is where you'll come back and you'll find out your admission decision from FSU as well. Just to show you a little example of what it looks like, here is a sample of our application status check. Like I said, it really is like an online checklist for you. So deadlines, our big deadline that you need to keep in mind is November 1st. This is what we call our priority deadline. What we mean by this is it's not early action. It's not binding you to FSU in any way. It just means that we do give priority admission consideration, scholarship consideration, honors, housing. The list kind of goes on. So you want to make sure you apply by this date. If you do get all those supplemental materials in by then as well, you'll find out your admission decision on February 17th. So we definitely encourage you to apply early. However, we do continue to accept applications through March 1st. Do keep in mind though, those will lose that priority status and won't be reviewed until after the start of March, and those decisions will be released on a rolling basis after then. Here's just a quick overview of our admitted student profile from this past year's class. Last year, we received close to 66,000 applications. On the top left up there, you can see what our middle 50% ranges for GPAs and test scores were. This was for fall, which is our most competitive term to be admitted for. Those GPAs are based on our recalculated scale. So we take the letter grades from all your core classes, we add additional weight to those. Our SAT and ACT scores, we do super score both of those exams. I didn't mention this before, but a test score is required, a part of the application as well. Because we're a public institution in the state of Florida, we do have to have at least one set of test scores, whether they be ACT or SAT, and you can self-report those on your application status check as well. Do keep in mind you see other numbers here. That's because we're not just looking at your GPA and test scores. We use a holistic review at FSU. So we're taking a lot of things into consideration, your overall strength in your schedule, how many classes have you been taking throughout high school. We read those essays, we read those resumes as well. So we use all of that to make our overall admission decision. Here's just an estimated cost of tuition and fees at FSU. As Georgia residents, obviously you will all be looking at those out-of-state costs, but tuition and fees, that number that you see there, that is based on taking an estimate of about 15 credit hours for both a fall and a spring, just because we do base tuition and fees off of credit hour per semester. We've also included some rough estimates for things like housing, meals, personal expenses, books, supplies, all that. But we do offer both need-based and merit-based scholarships. If you're hoping to receive need-based aid, we always recommend filling out the FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid. It's open now, it opens on October 1st every year. For merit-based scholarships, we do have two specifically that come from the Office of Admissions. One is an in-state scholarship and one is an out-of-state tuition waiver. It is 100% merit-based waiver. I'll go ahead and move on to housing really quickly. Housing contracts won't open until you're admitted. So again, apply by that priority deadline so you can fill out a housing contract earlier rather than later. We obviously encourage you to visit our campus, and here's some quick contact information, but please feel free to ask me any questions if you have any now as well. Thank you.
Thank you. And as was just stated, if you have any questions at all, feel free to submit those using the Q&A button. Any questions at all, our representatives are here to help. If it's about the college application process, or even if you have a specific question, we encourage you to ask those questions. And we encourage you to include the school name. The next representative is from Texas A&M University.
Thank you so much. So howdy, how's it going, everyone? My name is Jawan Andrews. I'm the Regional Admissions Advisor for Texas A&M. I just want to first say thank you all for coming out to learn a little bit about all of our institutions today. And so for Texas A&M, I'm going to go over our student life, our scholarships and financial aid, and also our admissions process as well, and a couple of other things. So if you have any questions, feel free to share them in the chat. But before I get started, if you do have a cell phone, please go ahead and scan that QR code in the top left-hand corner, and you will have an additional opportunity to do that at the end as well. I'm gonna give y'all 5 seconds, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 5. All right, let's get started. All right, so we're gonna start off with a couple of accolades to A&M's name. I'm just gonna hit on a couple of these. One I love to talk about is we are the number one public university for sending students abroad. So if any of you all are interested in studying abroad in any type of capacity, whether that's an exchange program, a class, a cultural trip, also an internship, then A&M is an excellent choice. That is a really great thing to have on your resume, that you've studied abroad and gained a greater understanding of different cultures and just have a globalized mindset. So we do offer a lot of opportunities for our students to study abroad. Texas A&M is also a top-tier research institution. We're 1 out of 17 institutions that have that triple designation of being a land, sea, and space grant funded institution. So if you're looking for a university heavy on research and that hands-on experience, A&M is an excellent choice. We're also ranked as the best college town in Texas, which was very prevalent this current weekend. And so if you saw that A&M game against Alabama, you definitely know that College Station was mayhem. So A&M is located in College Station, Texas, which is centrally located between 4 of the major cities in the state of Texas. And so you can get to any of those cities, which are Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, and Austin, within 1.5 to 3.5 hours, depending on how fast you drive. So, but College Station is pretty much a stereotypical college town located in College Station, very safe and quaint. A&M, one thing about A&M that sets us aside from any other institution is our culture and traditions. So one thing, a howdy is our official greeting here at Texas A&M. And one thing about being an A&M student, you're an A&M student for life. So your journey starts with an howdy and it ends with a here. And so here represents one of our most somber traditions here at Texas A&M, which is Aggie Muster, in which we honor our fallen Aggies each year, and their family and loved ones come to this event and answer with the call of here in remembrance of that fallen Aggie. We also, when we're talking about return on investment for an institution, the Aggie Ring and the Aggie Network will unlock so many doors for you all if you were to come to A&M. It's said that if 2 Aggie Rings clink at a job interview, you got the job. We have an alumni network that spans over 500,000 students. So that in itself will open up so many doors for you all. We do have a 20-to-1 student-teacher ratio, and we have a 94.3 first-year student retention rate. So we don't only want you to come here, we want you to stay here as well. So we have a lot of resources dedicated to ensuring you have an excellent first-year experience. We have 10 academic colleges and over 130 plus undergraduate degrees. So pretty much anything you're looking for, more than likely we have here at Texas A&M. You will have to indicate your first and your second choice major once you're coming to Texas, applying for admissions to A&M. So keep that in mind. If you're a little bit undecided, like I was like 10, 11 years ago, then we do have an amazing tool on our Career Center website that will allow you to check out all of our majors, and you can see the salary, the company, and also the position of former students that majored in that major. So you can kind of see the return on investment again for that specific major. Attracting the best. So we're home of the innovators, the game changers, and the leaders of tomorrow. So hopefully we have a lot of those on this call today. And so we continue to attract some of the best and brightest minds from across the nation. As an out-of-state student, you will go through holistic review. We are currently on the coalition application and Apply Texas. We are not on the common application, so keep that in mind. You only have to complete SAA. Application fee is $75 for domestic students and $90 for international students, and we do have eligibility for fee waivers on the application. We will accept the self-reported academic record. You will not have to submit your transcript to us. Keep that in mind. We are test optional this year, and we haven't decided for the following years, but as of now, we are continuing to be test optional. We do have National Scholar Program. And so there are a lot of unique opportunities in terms of scholarships for our national scholars. So if you do qualify as a national scholar, definitely reach out and we can talk about a couple of opportunities that we have and for you all to visit campus, but also scholarship opportunities. So definitely check us out. Fitting in to stand out. So we have over 1,100 student organizations here at Texas A&M. So get involved, y'all. Our student life is so vibrant. Intramural sports, Student Government Association, also Greek life. So if you are looking to get involved and develop those soft skills, A&M is an excellent choice. We do have the Corps of Cadets. It's the largest student organization here at Texas A&M. No military obligation. They are a staple here at Texas A&M. So if you are interested, only requirement is to be admitted to Texas A&M. It is, our dorms are very, very nice here at Texas A&M. We have dorms and also apartments. Once you are admitted, you can apply for housing. It is not a requirement to stay on campus, but highly encouraged. Financial aid and scholarship. So this is the makeup of tuition here at Texas A&M. As an out-of-state student, you will be in that last column, so keep that in mind. You can qualify for in-state tuition if you are awarded at least $4,000 worth of competitive scholarships. So keep that in mind. Our application and scholarship application are tied into one. And with that, thanks and gig 'em. That's the QR code, and I will drop it in the chat as well. Thanks and gig 'em, y'all.
Thank you. We really appreciate it. Our last representative, but certainly not least, is from the University of Georgia.
Hey, good evening, everyone. I will be with you shortly. Just allow me to share my screen. All righty. Am I good to go? Thank you very much. So everyone, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Jonathan Brunson. I am the Assistant Director of Admissions, and I am a Georgia grad, okay? For the good of the order. What I'm going to focus on is going to be the admissions process. So I have a checklist here that I'm going to go through with you all shortly, but just for those of you that may not be familiar with the University of Georgia and where it's located, so I humbly bring you greetings from Athens, Georgia, also known as the Classic City. If you're unfamiliar where Athens is, if you are familiar with the city of Atlanta, we are about 70 miles east of the city of Atlanta. Okay, so on a good day, if Atlanta traffic isn't too bad, you can probably be in Athens in about an hour and a half. Okay, Athens, Georgia is a quintessential college town. All righty. However, the university is very large. So our student population is close to 40,000 students, and our campus is spread out across 700 acres. Okay, so that's just a brief, kind of quick overview of who we are as a university. So located in Athens, large university in terms of population and acreage. But what I'm going to do quickly with the limited time that I have, but definitely a decent amount of time to cover the admissions process. You see here with the application checklist, we have early action and regular decision. And one thing that I will say before I go into these bullet points here is that a lot of times students ask us, well, how should I apply, or do we have a preference? First and foremost, how you apply is totally up to you, but we do not have a preference. And what I mean by that specifically, students, is we are going to review your application the same way in both early action and regular decision. Okay, so we have a whole student review process at UGA, which we basically break that up into two parts. First being academics, and second, anything you do outside of the classroom. But please know that we're going to review your application the same way in early action and regular decision. So let's talk about that first bullet point. Pretty much the takeaway from this, students, is, there are 3 different platforms that you can apply. We are a member of the Common Application, okay? Some of my fellow presenters here have mentioned the Coalition. You can use that. And if you want, you can use the good old-fashioned UGA application on our webpage. Again, students, no preference here. I'm just letting you know that you have 3 options. Everyone is going to be required to write 2 short answer essays. Again, this isn't anything too extensive. We're not asking you to write thousands of words, but just keep in mind 2 short answer essays. We are going to need an application fee, or if you do have one of the waivers from your standardized test or a NACAC waiver or whatnot, you can use that and we will waive your application fee. I'm going to skip down from that transcript because that's kind of self-explanatory. You are going to be required to submit a counselor school evaluation, okay? So what that is, that's something that your counselor has to submit to us through a portal that only they can access. So students, it's very important that you notify your counselor once you've submitted your application so they can send us that form. We are going to need your official SAT or ACT scores. Again, students, we don't have a preference. So if you took both tests, we're going to use whatever score is your best score. And we will automatically super score your test scores as long as you send us those official scores, okay? So keep that in mind. Finally, you have the option of submitting a teacher recommendation. It's optional. So if you decide to submit it, that's fine. If you choose not to submit it, that's fine, okay? But just kind of in a nutshell, this is the actual application. So in terms of what the profile looks like, okay, just to give you an idea of what the class of 2021 had, starting at the bottom of the screen, you see that we had 39,400 applications, all righty? And we accepted about 15,700. And in terms of how many people are currently enrolled at UGA as freshmen, it's about 5,850, all right? So one of the rumors or urban legends about the process at UGA is that there's a GPA or test score that guarantees admission. That is not the case. What's competitive is determined each year by the quality of the applications that we receive, okay? So if you look at the top of your screen, students, which I'm pretty sure you already are, there are 3 things that we're going to look at academically: GPA, rigor, and test scores, okay? So no minimum on those. That's simply based on, the quality of the applications that we receive, all righty? So I want to make sure that I'm good on time because I know we need to allow some time for questions, but if you think of anything else, we do have some colleagues behind the scenes that can answer your questions. And if you want to follow up with me after this, please feel free to do so. Thank you so much for your time.
Great, thank you. What a great way to end. At this time, we do have some time left. And so we're gonna now jump into our Q&A portion of this session. I invite all our representatives at this time to go ahead and turn on their cameras to get ready to unmute themselves. And our first question here is, what advice would you give someone going through the college search process? What advice would you give someone going through the college search process? And we'll go ahead and get started in the same order in which you all presented in.
Okay, great question. I think my biggest piece of advice with that would just be to keep an open mind in your college search, especially when it comes to things like your ability to be accepted or financial aid as well. I know as a private institution, Duke Kunshan, the tuition seems very scary, but we actually award up to 100% tuition. So definitely just, really look at the characteristics of the university and the individual programs, and don't be intimidated by the profile, the scores listed, and the finances attached.
Okay, so I'm just gonna go next.
Thanks.
So my advice is kind of in that same vein. It's going to be to visit and tour a lot of schools. You know how everyone says seeing is believing. You really can't imagine yourself at a university until you've really gotten to know it as well as you can without being a student. And with that, while I want you to come to UNF and Jonathan wants you to go to UGA and Samantha wants you to go to Florida State, at the end of the day, it is about finding, the best fit for you. And you can't know where that is unless you really give everyone a fair option and really hear what they have to say.
For me, I would just say use your resources. We're all here for you. That's literally our job, is to answer your questions. So please, not only read our admissions websites, because we have lots of information there, but feel free to reach out to us as well, because we're always happy to answer your questions.
Absolutely. And just one more point to add to y'all, I would say that don't put all your eggs in one basket. Make sure you have a list of different colleges that you want to apply to and also visit. I'd encourage y'all to have at least 3 schools that you apply for, and try to visit them, because visiting them will definitely, you can see yourself on campus. So definitely check that out and utilize us as resources.
That's a lot of good information. I'd say on my side, probably what I see a lot with my students, or just students in general, is I'd say relax, students. And I say that because we are human, we are people, and believe it or not, when we're reading your application, we just want to know about you, okay? We're not people sitting behind a desk like, I can't wait to find something negative. It doesn't work like that. So be yourself, because we look forward to reading your application. That's just the UGA side of things.
Great. So many great tips. It's always really helpful to hear. And so we appreciate it. We'll see if we can jump to one more really quickly. This next question is, what's one thing you want students to remember about your school? What's one thing you want students to remember about your school?
Alrighty, well, I think the big thing for us is just that you do graduate with 2 degrees, both a Duke University degree, which of course is accredited here in the US, and a degree from Duke Kunshan University, which is accredited by the Ministry of Education in China.
For UNF, the kind of thing we want you to remember the most is that we do look to provide you with a unique experience. And with that comes a lot of hands-on activities and a lot of hands-on experiences you can only get in the region that we provide. You can't go to the beach if you're in Kentucky. And so that's just something that UNF likes to try and provide using our location.
I think for FSU, because we are a large state school, we've got the resources for you. I guess I'm all about the resources today, but we've got the academic programs, we've got the over 750 registered student organizations. So we're here to make your experience what you want it to be, and we're here to help you do that.
For Texas A&M, I want to talk about return on investment. So our alumni network, Also academics and also resources that will be available for you at Texas A&M is amazing. And also just the student life that you'll get by coming to Texas A&M is something that you will definitely look forward to if you were to attend our university. So definitely check it out.
For me, I guess I'll give students a practical response. Please be aware that early action deadline is October the 15th. If anyone is currently working on their application or thinking about applying, that's all I have for you.
And that was awesome. We're right on time. Thank you so much to our representatives for being here, for sharing some great insight. Each institution is very unique and very different. And so that is a great way for us to leave a great note to leave on. So again, thank you for your time. And thank you to each of you for joining us. We have now reached the conclusion of this session. As we close, there'll be a very quick 5-question survey that will appear on your browser. If you don't mind taking a moment to fill that out for us, your feedback is extremely helpful. This is one of many college presentations being offered, so feel free to check the schedule on the website for more. And lastly, this session is being recorded and will be available at strivescan.com/probe. Thank you all and have a great night.